And there we are. And we wouldn't be a Darkside without a technical glitch to start off. So obviously tonight we're having some technical issues. We're lagging for some weird reason, so we might sound a little strange. I'll talk slower than I normally talk. How's that? But in no way am I not going to be the middle-aged man that's screaming at the clouds tonight, as usual. We're going to go through some updates of what's going on. I'm going to bring up a question that was asked. It opens up many doors of discussion about equipment influences and whatnot. So, updates. It's so weird seeing you in one frozen screen. You know what? We all know the economy sucks. That affects what we do. It is what it is. But you know what? Things are okay with us right now. We've just finished some investigations, and now we've got a residential coming up in Brighton. That should be nice. And what just happened there?
Dude, I was trying to unmute.
Fiona's gone for a moment.
No,
I think I'm still here.
Was
I still there?
You were fine. I just accidentally, I was trying to unmute myself and kicked myself out.
Shut yourself out. Okay.
Yeah.
In a couple of weeks, I'll be on the Durham College Radio Network and in studio. It's going to be on YouTube as well. They're going to bring in an engineer, and I guess they gather we're going to debate things. I think the mindset there is that I'm like one of these kooky ghost hunters that believes that everything I think and see is there, and they're going to have an engineer come in and dispel it. Probably what's going to put them, what's going to sadden them is that I'm probably going to agree with the engineer for 99% of everything. Everything else coming up, we've got our 20th anniversary investigation booked at the Randolph County Infirmary / Asylum in beautiful Winchester, Indiana.
And I'm devastated to be missing that. So
right.
Just rubbing it in.
Which means we're going to have to make your announcement. But if you want to make it.
Yeah. Chaps continues the legacy with a baby on its way in the new year. So we'll have a baby investigator to join us. As of, I won't actually be bringing them just yet. So unfortunately, I can't go to this 20th anniversary because I will still be recovering from pushing a baby out. But I will live vicariously through the investigation.
How does it feel to be fat?
I'm still feeling pretty good, actually. So I feel great. Thank you.
I guess calling you fat might have knocked that down a notch, but
you know what? It's okay. I've been called a submarine every time I go in water, so it's according to
you're my daughter. You're my daughter, so I can chastise you if I want.
That's okay. Not hurt.
So is anybody joining us at this point in time? Any viewers?
We have 6 viewers right now.
Oh, dear. So viewers, I can't see the comments. Okay, I can't. I'm
sorry,
not on this
side. All right, so we've got Kelly.
I'm a guest of Fiona. Hey, Kat. Kat, an investigator, worked with us in the past. Oh wow, Moundsville. That was a couple of years back, wasn't it? Eh?
That was before my time.
Yeah, it's a fantastic place to investigate. A little on the pricey side nowadays, but so we got lots coming up in the future. I suspect that the latter half of 2025 will impose more of these larger scale trip style investigations because finances being what the world is, most of my vacation time next year will be investigating. It's going to be a great trip on the 20th anniversary. We've got River Valley Paranormal, who we've investigated with in the past, Adrian and Tina and co, Ron and Robin. They're coming up from Arkansas.
Oh, wow.
They're meeting us. Basically, Winchester's kind of halfway. So we both got about a 10-hour drive. And we're going to stay at a hotel the night before and get up to shenanigans. And then the actual night of the investigation, Randolph Infirmary sleeps 16. They've got 16 beds there. So we're going to stay there. Yeah, and Kevin Davidson's going to join us.
Nice. That'll be nice.
And Darren and Evan Wanamaker, who investigated with us in at Moundsville, they'll be there. So it'll be 12 of us there. It's pretty large, 50,000 square foot place. I don't know the claims of it yet.
Okay.
I haven't watched a single video on it yet. It was suggested to me by Wes Coleman of Cops to do. And I thought, Wes knows these great locations as well, so I'm going to take his word on it. And I called him and hooked it up. So
just before you go on, just because people have been joining, for anyone who hasn't watched the first 30 seconds of this video, StreamYard's having some technical difficulties. We're not thinking it's an internet thing. So if any of us are choppy, please don't yell at us. It is out of our control.
Don't leave.
Yeah.
Don't leave. Right, because you're a sensitive young lady, and I'm a sensitive middle-aged man.
My heart will be shattered if you guys leave because of our crappy quality that we can't control. So throw your earbuds in and just don't look at us.
How many are with us at this point?
We have 8 people right now.
Oh, geez, that's like a record or something, isn't it?
It is a record for us. So do you know what? I'm all for it. Using that little followers tag tends to bring in.
We need 7 followers on YouTube to pass 1,000 subscribers. So
wow. Okay, you hear that? Follow up.
Yes, get on YouTube and follow us. Go on Facebook and follow us.
Yeah.
Go on Instagram and follow us, and TikTok, because both Fiona and I have Chaps Paranormal accounts on TikTok and Facebook.
Well, I'm sure while I'm on my mat leave, there'll be lots of advertising. Great to hear, Kelly. That's awesome, because on our end, it's atrocious. So that's great. But I'm sure on my mat leave, I'll have, on top of caring for a child, but I'll have lots of time because I won't be working. So I'm sure our social medias will start booming because I'll be bored.
Do you know, I just learned how to bring up the comments that people are putting in.
Oh, did you tag
private chat?
Oh, that's why. From when we were doing our trilogy streams, that would make sense.
Yeah, so that's
now
interesting.
You can see the comments, guys.
Now I can see your comments, so keep making them. Let us know. Obviously, I know that Kat Harrison is up in the Ottawa Valley. I don't know where everybody else is. I think I got one. What? Coburg, Oshawa. The Gong Show that is the Schwa.
Not to get political, but Coburg was where Doug Ford made his fabulous statements the other day. He was standing in front of our homeless encampment and made that comment. So I am now living in a famous town.
Well, I mean, he agree or disagree with him, he certainly makes a statement every day that seems to be a bit strange. This latest one about building a tunnel from Brampton to Scarborough under the 401. They can't, they can't build a tunnel 5 kilometers, let alone 50. So
we have an investigation coming up.
Now that's for the phasing in. I'm sorry.
We have an investigation coming up.
Yes, we do. Well, I discussed that. We got one coming up in
Perth in like 3.5.
What am I thinking about? We were talking about Brighton, and then all of a sudden, you're right. I completely skipped it. On October the 19th, we're investigating the Perth jail, which is the oldest jail in Ontario. And you know what? The great thing I like about it is that it's not a location for people. I'm gonna take these off, man. They hurt. It's not a location that people really go to. It's a private owner, and we got a hold of it through a friend. The place is just under fence, lock and key, all kinds of grown grass around it, and it hasn't been touched in like 30 years. The paint's peeling off the walls. I'd actually suggest you wear some kind of breathing apparatus for you, especially because you're pregnant. I won't, because, well, I'm already old enough that if I pass go, it won't make a difference. So yeah, we've got a jail to do. And the great thing about that, of course, is there's no contamination in there.
Right.
Which would be nice. About the size of the Cornwall jail, so it should be good. There's 6 of us going up, and it'll be great. We're probably staying in a crappy little hotel. Whatever hotel I arranged never seems to be what it is on the picture on booking.com. You get there and there's bloodstains all over the floor. But it's cheap and cheerful, and 2 rooms for $300. So I think that's like a Value Village deal these days for a hotel. So let's go on to discuss. So on the Chaps fan page, not the family page, the fan page, the question was asked on why ghost hunters, I really hate the term ghost hunters, but what we do, anyway, paranormal investigators are not taken seriously by the science community. Why this is not referred to as a science. I know that a lot of paranormal investigators are very butthurt by the fact that here. Nope, there I am now. Sorry, my screen went black. That we're not a science. And that whole community, I can assure you, I could find some videos. Robert Bradley gave me a good video of a conference where they were talking about paranormal investigators and how ridiculous we are. And by watching that video, I really came to the consensus that we're everything they say we are, for the most part. So this led me to do a few show watches. Like, I don't watch paranormal TV, but I thought, you know what? Sandy and I were in Ottawa visiting, and I watched some paranormal TV, and it upset me. And then I went on the deep rabbit hole that is Reddit. I'm at work, it's during my lunch. I'm sitting at my desk eating my sandwich, and I'm reading Reddit. And that is a soul-crushing exercise. So I know that lately, if we're being not taken seriously by the science community, we've done it to ourselves, a large portion of teams. You are noisy. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm typing up the banner.
Smashing your microphone around, baby. How difficulties we're having tonight. So
yeah, I'm just typing out our banner. I'll mute myself.
I was just thinking about, over the last number of years. Now, first off, scientifically speaking, in the science community, just to break this down pragmatically, as many teams as we are out there that call ourselves science-based, we're not. We're not science-based. We're pseudoscience, right? We're a particulate science. We're not science. We do not follow the scientific method. Okay, we really don't. Like, we don't have the opportunity to investigate a place so many times. Like, okay, I'll take CPRI. They are a team made of scientists, chemists, this and that, right? They've been investigating, we'll say, Bacon's Castle for like 7 years. They've done it like 100 times, and they can develop a trend. Most of us don't. Like where you take the same scenario, the same stimulus, and repeat that test a multiple of times and get, an answer, right? You might get like that, and you develop a trend along the way of, roughly at this time, whatever, this is what happens. Scarborough Sasquatch Station. Am I assuming this is Scarborough, Ontario? Or it's Scarborough, England? So where it comes down to it, like the closest thing, like most of us teams, we go out, we investigate, we help people, we have the mandate to go assist people and calm them down, show them physical reasons why things aren't necessarily what they think in their home. That's what we do. And think pragmatically and logically why they're having these things, these events. And we create different tests to try and duplicate this kind of thing. But it's not science. Like, what we're doing is we're not using the instruments of science. Mm-hmm. We're not coming up with a scientific conclusion. We're not scientists, so
The most we ever do out of the scientific method is occasionally we get to visit a site more than once and look at similarities.
The SJJ, Sir John Johnson House, was probably the closest we actually had to a true scientific.
Well, we've gone 3 times now, so
3 times over, like, say, 12 hours each.
Yeah.
We managed with the same scenario, same location, same stimulus, same equipment. We got the same responses.
Right.
Same voice, same. So that's why the third time we went, we did the same thing, but we didn't get anything, right? So, it creates something else to argue. And now that kind of goes now into the leaning towards a scientific approach to it, to the methodology to it, but it's not science. You know what I mean? Like, they won't ever see us as that. Probably the greatest reason why, frankly, is the Gong Show. As investigators, we've created ourselves, right? Like, we talk about we're scientists. We're not. We talk about, proof when there is no such thing. Nobody's ever come up with it. So now I've got to divert the conversation. I was on Reddit. I started with Reddit. I'm going to go back to Reddit. Okay. So I'm on Reddit. And I'm realizing that everybody on Reddit is basically a medium or a psychic. They all see ghosts, and they all know that ghosts exist. They have proof. They got all these pictures of Uncle Warren after he left the funeral home, because he was there standing next to his body. So they want to start a team. I'm watching this conversation develop on starting a team. Yeah, that would be cool, right? And as this, goes on, in this discussion, I had made a comment that, hey, you know what? I've been at this for 30 years. I'm not like being arrogant about it. I didn't say that, but like, if you guys need some help, because their focus was things like what kind of poses they should have in their media shots. Like, they're already taking media shots. They haven't even met, right? Who's going to, well, I'm a sensitive and I'm a psychic and I'm an empath and I'm a warlock. By the way, no such thing as warlock. That is a Hollywood made up word. Yada, 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 yada. We'll get a Ouija board. We'll get a spirit box. We'll get the connect. So the thing is, yes, Ontario. Okay, you never expect to see real ghosts when it does happen. You know what? I got to be honest. In the 30 years I've been doing this, I've never seen one. I've never seen one in a picture. We've never taken a picture of one of the thousands of pictures we have on our site. So I haven't been lucky enough for that. And I think we have one piece of video evidence, not proof. But that's you're a very, very lucky individual if you have seen. I have not. I think I've seen what they would consider a shadow that I actually, well, Adrian, who we're investigating with, it's coming up from Arkansas. We were in a public building down there, huge hospital. And Adrian and I were sitting together. All of a sudden, Adrian takes off, and I chase him down this dark hallway. Like, I think there's like 60 rooms inside. And I ran into a room because I was following the whites of the shoes, like the Adidas, or I don't know if that's around anymore, his shoes. And then I went out and looked out the door, and he was sitting on the table that we were sitting on at the start of the hallway about 300 feet before. So whatever I chased, I don't know what it was. I have no explanation for it, but I never got a full view of it. So going back to my discussion. So we've got people out there that are starting up teams. And these people get followed by media. Media and people in general are into immediate satisfaction. They want the drama. The science community sees the Gong Show that exists and passes us all off as that. And unfortunately, so does the general public. The general public thinks that we're all just a bunch of psychics running around and mediums and empaths and whatever word else you can use for that. and I, getting called, insensitive. This is why I'm trying to be nice tonight for my commentary that I hold in general. Um, I think a lot of this is really derived by, I don't know, not social media, not like YouTube small media, but like big media. There are some shows that aren't back, and people are like, oh, don't pay attention to the shows, but you kind of got to pay attention to the shows because the shows are what influences people, right?
Yeah. See, and like we both watched Supernatural from season 1 right till 90, whatever it was. And it's funny because aside from like when it was like true paranormal stuff, especially in the beginning, I didn't find it like extremely gacky depending on the episode. It really depended on what the nature of the episode was. But I think what's funny is that they actually do a parallel to like Ghostbusters that have a team, and they make fun of them, which is hilarious because we would make fun of Supernatural's practices with the K2 and it flying off the radar and there's like a ghost above their head and then they're making fun of the little Ghostbusters team halfway through the show. So it's funny how we kind of like draw these parallels in real life to see like what is gacky and dramatic of a team versus what is pragmatic, because even if we were to compare us to CPRI, they're like very much like science based. Like they don't even go off like as like something feels creepy, doesn't matter, like the science isn't showing it. Whereas us, we may not be super like gack, but we still occasionally will be like, oh, I feel weird being here. Like I feel like there's something uncomfortable in this room. Like so I think it's just funny to kind of see like you said, like comparing the brand new teams versus, historic teams like ours.
Yeah. And I think, unfortunately, in our realm of things, there are a lot of teams operating out there that are charging money.
Ugh.
B, like we're going to, you see lots of people that are doing the smudging and this and that, but they have absolutely zero relation to the actual indigenous nature of things. They're doing it because that's a process that they see. But they're charging money for this.
Realistically, it's kind of offensive to like indigenous culture because that's something they take as like a significant practice. Well,
I think it's to me it's akin to, and I'm not Catholic, but it's to me it's like taking the Eucharist or whatever, the bread on your tongue, but you're not Catholic, right? So I don't get it, and like I know that there's one gentleman that runs a team now that's charging a fair amount of money for house cleansings based on bedrooms. Like if there's 4 bedrooms, it's more expensive than a 3-bedroom house because spirits do move into more rooms. They pay higher rent. And, he also operates a social media thing as a female that owns the company he's in, that had a hostile takeover, some weird shit. Like, guy, you're making this all bonkers, right? And
you do what you gotta do in this economy.
This is what people see. It drives me nuts. I have no integrity.
No.
We don't charge, right? Never have. But that's getting popular. The pictures are getting popular. But the fact that nobody at this day and age, with the amount of science that we do have access to, still looks at an effing dust globule, and I'm thinking to myself, even like you guys say you're scientists, the fact that 99.9% of the time that's going to be dust and it's completely explainable, you would take that chance and say that I see a face when it's not. Like, why would you want to cheat yourself? And too many teams are doing it.
I think also in like, even if it's not, I think also like our brain plays tricks on us, especially when like our arousal system is up in terms of like cortisol levels. So like I've been texting you for like the last 3 weeks that like I've been waking up from like horrendous dreams. and they're all like night terrors. And as soon as I wake up, unless all my doors are shut in the vicinity, I can make like a body or an image out of anything just because my stress levels are so high. So, you know, that's why I don't really trust like anyone, even if they're saying and it's true and it's happening, because when I think about any time I've stayed at Sir John Johnson Manor, I don't sleep a wink because my stress levels are so high, and I'm so hyper alert what's around me. So if I heard something, no, I didn't. That was just an imagination. Like, I don't trust it.
I'm trying to read while I'm talking. Okay. Walking past the site more than 30 times, intuition was actively.
Oh.
Kelly, I'd be in for that for sure. Hey, Grins Beats. So that's he works with me at my store. It's Greg, and he does rap and produces music videos. So cool. He's gonna come do some production work with us and fine tune our stuff. Maybe I'll toss him a couple bucks. So going back to that situation, obviously we're talking about pareidolia, right? Like,
yeah.
If you want it to happen bad enough, if you want
you'll hear it.
You'll see it. Proof was, I know that in Chaps fan page, somebody had taken a picture of a floor tile, like one of those Tampico floor tiles, and they, you know, and I saw it too, right? There was like a little, I don't know, witch face or like this in the floor tile. Obviously, it was just happened to be a miracle of the speckle, but you know, they were seriously concerned about it. Like there's a fucking ghost in the.
Do you know what Reddit thread you should go on? The paranormal Reddit thread. That's all you will see. People will post like a blur and they swear like someone's haunting them. And I remember telling you about this a while back, but someone had posted a photo of their baby monitor, and it was an actual person like in above their crib. And they posted it thinking that this was a spirit, and people like, no, you have a squatter in your house. Like, you have a physical human being. Like, this isn't a ghost at this point. You actually have someone living in your house when you're sleeping. So, you know, it's like people are just always like looking for something spiritual, you know, whether it be like a delayed long exposure on a camera and, you know, then the face has moved and now, you know, it must be paranormal. So people that are searching for it will find it. And that's why, especially when it comes to residential investigations, I always take their claims with a grain of salt, because like they want their house to be haunted. They want the notoriety to tell people, oh, you know, like my house, you know, it's filled with spirits. But then we come in there and it's like dead, quiet all night.
Right. Well, that and they either or they want to be justified for the feelings that they've been having. Nobody wants to feel like Kelly. It's Dave at Chaps Paranormal, all one word, .ca. Make sure it's .ca. We're not a .com. We're a .ca. We're not like you Americans. We're Canadian. The
American.
So yeah, and I mean the problem is when you really come down to it, right? We have so much access to so much information now. Why people are only you be married to that. We don't. Why we're dealing with
or in the clouds. Yes.
Well, yeah. So we have a situation where we have the access to everything. We understand everything and how it works. Yet for some reason we seem to deny this whenever somebody has evidence of it, right? And I know that was your grandmother. I know, and I want to ask the question, like, say at a funeral or whatever, why are they there? And then at the graveyard, they investigate graveyards, and you see them all. You know, because we have gone to graveyards, and you'll see them all, like 6-7 people standing around graves with you know, witching sticks and all this. Why would you be at the grave? Why is a graveyard haunted? Like your body is going to stand next to its carcass for the rest of eternity?
Right. And you know what? And I will say, like, whenever I've gone to visit Connor at the cemetery, I do feel a wave of emotion, but that's probably the emotion of visiting a past family member, not not the dead, haunting of, their own grave. Why would they want to watch their body rot? Like it's very much just, I think, the overwhelming emotion. Like I said earlier, it's that hyper arousal of the cortisol in your body. Like it has nothing. But again, if someone wants to see something or hear something or, feel something, they're going to do it, whether we prove to them that it was, their curtain touching their arm or not.
So I'm watching these damn shows, right? And we could list off 10,000 of them.
You torture yourself with them.
I'm sorry?
I said you torture yourself with them.
I do. You know what? I got to be honest with you. I don't give a about calling out names either. Everybody's like, don't ever call out names. I was watching Ghost Adventurers because it was the only thing on. And Jesus. The 10-minute segment on this orb that flew past his head. So if Zach is such an experienced ghost hunter, do you not think at this stage of the game he'd have gone like, look, 9 times out of 10, that's nothing. And he's getting people all aroused. I will say, like, the show is produced super well. It's great voiceovers. It's excellent angles. Zach's got biceps, tight ass, the whole bit. So, people will pay attention to him. He makes it look like ghost hunting is exciting. And did we just come back out? We're here.
You're here.
It makes it look like ghost hunting is romantic. It's a novel. It's not. Paranormal research is boring. The psychic mediums, paranormal activity when visiting nurses' home or hospital. Scarborough Sasquatch, we don't deal with mediums or psychics. We don't have one on the team. We had one on the team almost 20 years ago, and she was great. And then once she left, it was it. We've had absolute shitstorms when we deal with psychics and mediums ever since. Absolute gong shows of watching people dying in trees and nurses being raped. So
it is true that it is drawn out for the income. You're right.
Well, but I'm saying why the science, the question that stems this entire conversation is, why does the science community not take us seriously? It's a direct result of the gong show teams that are out there right now, which is a direct result of the way media portrays what we do and the romance it is. The fact that Zach Baggins is on a show with that ridiculous Connect system, looking at the little cricket over in the corner, waving at you, and it's waving like it's very upset right now. Give me a break. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It's finding a humanoid figure, which is a table leg or a doorway. It's nothing, zero. We beta tested it, probably 200 investigations, used it in many different ways. The simple fact that the new toys he's using too are like, they're mobile, right? So that little eye, that swivel eye in that Connect is spinning back and forth and just grabbing onto anything, right? And now he's got one that's got all these ridiculous colors in it. It looks funky. I really liked it. I liked the way it looked, but it does nothing. What about that would tell you that this is proof or evidence of the paranormal? What we use in the paranormal, right? Like our primary tool in the paranormal is audio. Hours and hours of audio versus, sound levels, right? Something is a sound spike, but at 2 or 3 decibels, which we can't give off, we'll do it. We'll analyze it. Then we isolate it. Then we clean it. We keep the raw file. And we go against video. Everything's video so that we can compare video against audio. And then we peer review it. We share it with other people. They listen to it. If we can't figure it out, we send it to another team and let them listen to it. So it's been reviewed. But when it comes to some of the shit that's out there right now, even like we have thermal cameras, right? Robert, hey, my man. And we're bitching about us not being scientists tonight. Perfect. Now we have a scientist on who's going to shit on me. So, hey, Elliot's on. Boy, the whole crowd is here. We must have 40 people.
Is here.
So we're getting to this issue now. So audio set aside. Pictures, got to be honest, that's just for reference. Never taken a paranormal picture ever. Video, that's for cross-referencing against audio, right? Everything else, like thermal, you're not going to get a body. We had taken, no, it's just a regular sound file, a wave file. Now you're getting all technical with me on here, and your wife is going to come slap you in a minute. So we have, say thermal. You're not going to get a body on that because you're going to get lots of false positives on all kinds of surfaces, right? We also, don't know how the parameters are set in the thermal program, like what the degree difference is. We're also not trained to read, a FLIR. None of us have gone through that. I use it.
If Brandon would join the team, he is trained to read a FLIR.
There you go, Brandon. But Brandon's a chicken shit, so he won't do it. We do the thermal. A lot of the times it's because we have a claim about cold spots and all kinds of shit like that, right? I feel cold. So I want to see what kind of, physical rationale there is to that. If there's like a draft, a cold spot, physical cold spot. It's like EMF. Let's take cases of teams out there that base an entire case because they had a milligauss in EMF. Again, it comes down to training and what you're using. If you're using we tend to use a tri-field, a bit more, engineered for what we do, or not for what electricians do, actually. We use that to base read because somebody's having certain feelings in certain places. We want to know if there's some kind of, leak, right? An energized area. That helped us close a case of a senior citizen whose alarm clock next to their head, not 5 months ago, was turning the tri-field off. And he was having nightmares at night. And remember, he was hearing like radio signals, right, in his head. So I told his son, the alarm clock that's right next to his head is turning my machine off. That means it's over 100 milligauss. He threw it out. Dad's fine, right? And then, yes, yeah. You're right there, Scarborough. Now, if you're dealing with, I'm trying to read as we're doing it. Of course, I'm not wearing my glasses because I'm an idiot. Now you're using a K2, which is the famous blinkety lights that Robert's describing there. Look, K2 has got one merit. If you're like doing any quiet solo work and it goes off, it doesn't mean there's something with you. It just means let's look for a reason why that went off. That's it. Maybe it's a reason to start asking different questions. That's all. It's a barometer. It's a temperature gauge, right? It's a thermometer. But I mean, your cell phone will set that off. Your own body energy can set that off. So let's get real, right? All the other devices connect. I'm not even going to go into that. You know what? If you're looking at Connect as being something for the paranormal, it was created or reused by the paranormal community to get immediate satisfaction. All right. What am I thinking? Spirit box. Don't get me thinking about the spirit box and how many 55 ways that thing cannot work and doesn't work, right? I mean, you can have a baby monitor come over a spirit box. You can have a radio come over a spirit box. Just errant CV waves coming by. I don't know if anybody uses CVs anymore. It's vomit inducing to listen to it. Personally, I kind of get nauseated. Obulus.
Very hard to listen to. It hurts the head.
Yeah. I mean, and the obulus, let's take something that has a predetermined memory bank of words. We've done several investigations in London, Ontario. We were actually supposed to come down to London a few weeks ago, but that kind of went sideways. So, remember that everything we have, and we've all got a drawer full of these toys, right? A lot of them, I've got a case of excess toys. And in the end, it just goes back to camera, video camera, and audio. Yeah. Right? I don't think that I know that, say, like Robert would say, using data loggers, we're not like, I don't think we would know exactly what to do with a lot of that information necessarily. Like with our particular client base, they just want to know if something's happening or not. We're not going back to a place enough times to like log out a trend, right? Like we've had our we'd love to be there. Our team isn't big enough to do that place now. I'd love to be able to do places long enough to get more of a trend. We've used our EDI. EDI is like one rate per second as opposed to like 100 rates a second. So it's a very, very basic, give you a basic idea of what's going on, I guess.
I like the EDI though, because it gives you so many, like it measures so many things at the same time. So then we can get a decent idea, is it just going up for funsies, or is the temperature also going up or down? So I don't hate it.
And it does record on a SD card that you can graph out. But yes, we'll come back to Virginia. Robert, I've got like 5 weeks of vacation next year, and really,
what kind of cookies?
They're scientists. You know that they're cocaine cookies.
Oh, are we in Breaking Bad now?
They've got retired. They've got hey John, they've got a retired DEA on their team, so he has the inside scoop on where to get it.
He's got all the leftover product.
So I think it's like an overly frustrating thing when watching these shows, because these shows themselves get people down a bad path. Like, why would anybody want to do what we do? It's boring, right? Real paranormal investigation is boring.
I tell them all the time when they ask, because I'll be like, oh yeah, like I go paranormal investigating. I have a paranormal podcast, and like immediately they go to kind of like laugh and gack at it because, of course, like, oh my god, ghosts. But then, when I tell them, when they ask me how it goes, I'm like, well, it's more so just sitting somewhere for about 6 hours and doing nothing other than asking questions to the empty room.
Really, all we're doing in that non-science community way is just sample testing, right? Just getting a pragmatic, logical viewpoint, as well as testing things out to calm that person's nerves down. Like, we're going to go to a house in Brighton where the lady, she can't sleep in her bed, and we're just going to try and help her. That's it. Like, that's why we do it, And when we go to a site, let's be honest. If we're going to the asylum next May, that's kind of for us. That's for shits and giggles. That's that's in the lucky sample that we might get something that's debatable, and for the experience, right? Like, we can't mitigate personal experience. Like, certainly, shit happens sometimes you just can't explain, and that's fine.
But our goal is
cool. If you come away from something and like, oh, I had a really wicked night, I had the crap scared out of me like 5 times, then that's excellent. That's, when I got involved with this,
You're frozen on my end.
It's okay to admit you want a natural human emotion. Get that dopamine hit, right? That's so is it breaking down on your side as well?
You froze a few times in that little vocal spurt, but
it's definitely
okay. But yeah, I think it's a StreamYard thing.
Do you know, tonight when Sandy and I were talking about this, I called it SodaStream. I said I didn't have SodaStream installed on my computer.
Well, I hope you don't have SodaStream installed on your computer. How can one join? Well, that's a great question.
I'm going to be honest with you, Jordan. We've had a few people join in the last year, come out to one investigation, and then we never hear from them again. Because unfortunately, we got to do a lot of hours and hours and hours of audio review and that kind of thing. I guess it really comes down to your availability and what you can put into this.
You can drive.
If you can drive, all that kind of stuff. Many of us notice if you take someone bipolar on it. You know what, Kelly, that was actually, we were going to have an investigation with that exact situation not too long ago. And one of the reasons why I wanted to do that investigation was to see if the bipolarism actually, magnetized or attracted that kind of activity. It's a very valid point. And I do think that we have had some cases in the past where I think there have been some pretty loose personalities there that lived in the home that maybe could stimulate that. I'm thinking of like one particular case where the wife came home and started whipping toys at us. The husband wanted us to stay. It was like hours away from here. We drove there in a winter storm, and then the wife came home and was like picking up kids' toys and throwing it at our heads, grabbing our equipment and chucking it, and maybe that's why they were having problems having there. But maybe that could be materialized in your own personal, self. I'm not like, you're the psychologist. I don't,
I wish I was a psychologist, not paid as a psychologist. Yes.
Not paid
No,
as a psychologist.
I think it's
You've
just
got the invitation.
I think it's different energies and different vibes, just really depending on if it's like treated medicationally or through therapy. I think if people, are, going untreated with various disorders, they're just naturally sending out bad vibes in general. In the sense that if they're untreated and not doing well, if they're managing well without a medication or therapy, then whatever, all goes for them. But if they're not doing healthy, and then I think it just sends out like an energy that I think they welcome. And I think especially if, they are manic or are going through a schizoaffective episode or whatever, then they're going to see, their own energies as well, because, hallucinations and psychosis are part of like the bipolar type 1 and type 2 like symptoms, if, depending on how it is. Test methods you guys have been trying to investigate to initiate a response.
So I think that can be read a few different ways, but I mean, obviously you've got a single question and answer response. A lot of the times we'll have like a conversation, will they jump in response, silent stimuli, absent stimuli. Sometimes we'll put speakers in the room that we are not in the room to see if they're worried about we're being in the room, but the speaker is fine. Pre-recorded, we will do musical impulse, verbal impulse. I know like we're at Hinsdale, which is a load of bullshit down there, but we had brought like an exorcism benediction because supposedly there was an exorcism done in the house. So like we do try to get as creative as possible. We have.
Yeah.
We have.
And then they ran around naked with
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, we did this at a house in the other part of Durham region. It was, a house that had some really funky stuff the first time we were there, and so they asked us, and that's when we brought the EDI. So we had like 10 days of response, like on the EDI, which was good, right? Then we actually had something, which actually, by the way, proved that the hydro wires that are above their head, going to the nuclear plant, were giving off, I think, an average 30-40 milligauss. So I think that might have been causing some of what was going on. But anyway, the greatest thing about it is we had trap cameras set up. We had CCTV set up for an entire week. By the way, reviewing that sucks. Well, it's an older folks' home. And I'm saying older, like, look, I'm middle-aged, right? I'm unlike Robert, who just celebrated his 60th
Everyone,
birthday.
please call him a boomer.
Right. He's a boomer.
No, I meant you a boomer because it bugs you.
Oh, yeah. I am not a boomer. I am a proud Gen X with no emotions. So you lost me. Okay. So anyway, we have these. This is just a funny story. It's got nothing to do with proving anything. Older, 60s, 70s. And I guess the gentleman sleeps naked. I guess lots of people sleep naked. And the gentleman came down to make coffee in the morning, and we got like a 35-minute CCTV footage of Magic Mike at 70, right? I didn't have to review all of that. My wife did. So anyway, yeah, so we have done that. We have done that for sure. And we would continue to do that. Most of the times when we're at a place like the SJJ, like we'll do a 12, 14, 24-hour set type. Unfortunately, the way the parameters work of what we do, it really a lot of the times we're kind of in and out. We go in, we try to help out, we try to get a sample, right?
Well, that's it, right? We can't. Someone would have to be okay with equipment running, for days on end in their home, and they would have to maintain, batteries if that were be the case. And especially something like the SJJ, where that's used as like a library and archives place for history buffs or whatever. I don't think we could just leave our equipment there for a week. And
so it is what it is. And honestly, like, remember that the other places, especially in Canada, we don't have places that are readily accessible to us. So we have to drive.
John,
John, 1 second. Let me answer. Damn it, this thing is just killing me. I lost my thought, my total train of thought. Fantastic, because the screen went out. Horrible. So John's asking me about psychics and mediums. John, we used to have a medium on the team and studied at Stansted in England. I vetted this medium myself on many occasions. And we did it so that we weren't getting confirmation bias with the team. If she felt something, she would come up and let me know. I kind of like over a period of time advise the team on where to go, and we'd match up. I trusted one woman to do this. I grew up in the spiritualist church. I grew up in the church that makes mediums, so I know what charlatans come out. Ever since that point in time, when Donalda hadn't been working with us anymore, she had a heart issue.
She actually liked this video, by the
way. Ever since then, it's been a crapshoot. Almost every investigation that we've worked with a medium or a psychic, it's been a gong show. We did an investigation down at Picton Heights, and the one lady was talking about all the people hanging in the trees, and the nurse that had been raped upstairs, and they carved her stomach open, and just all this weird shit. I'll get to that one in a second, Scarborough. Unfortunately, when 9 times out of 10 I run into a gong show with a medium, that's the unfortunate side. I suppose they exist out there, but they really don't for us. It's not part of our program. It's not in our, the paradigm of our team to work with them. We're more like a pragmatic. Scarborough, have you ever investigated any outdoor sites during the night hours? Oh, yes, tons. We don't generally focus on outdoor investigations because the contamination factors kind of go against what we do as investigators. Like, there's just too much that can go wrong, audio-wise, video, pictures. So, hey, Donalda, I just mentioned you. We were talking about the medium.
I just told you she liked the video like 50 minutes ago.
I don't pay attention
to me, I know.
So, it's not that I think if we were doing outside, like when we were doing Hinsdale, we were around the surrounding area to it. And the problem is that the stories are what affects you, right? Being in the woods is what affects you. Being in a graveyard is what affects you, right? So like mediums, I'm not saying they don't work. I'm saying I've only ever met a very small handful of them that actually impressed me. And it doesn't matter about impressing me, but I'm just saying, like, for our team. And yeah, the outdoor stuff, the unfortunate thing is that 9 times out of 10, you're going to get contamination that is going to mess with your investigation. Are you hearing my chair making that noise? Is that coming through? No?
I think that's what I thought the cat was earlier, was your chair.
Driving me that shit back here. I'm going to be honest. I got to buy a new office chair. So that's that. there's my rant. The TV shows are driving me nuts. And unfortunately, right now, the vast majority of teams out there right now are dramatic. Some of them are charging money. Please don't ever accept money or think that that's acceptable. It's not. And they're basically proving it's proof, and they're saying they're science-based. They're not. Kelly, I like cemeteries. If I'm going through a cemetery, it's for personal feeling, get the vibes. As far as an experiment and investigation, we don't really do them because what in the end, like when you sit back and go, what could this be? And if it could be that, then you get rid of that evidence, right? Yeah, and I know that also Robert had explored this about like paranormal overlay in the way that say like 500 different teams have investigated this location. How much of this now is like a magnetic resonance that people have laid on there, like an audio track over an audio track, like we used to tape on cassettes, and sometimes you could hear the previous file perforating through. Interesting. I'm not smart enough to go the way he explained it because he's smart and I'm a blue collar schmo. So I imagine at 60, now that he's 60, he's got to be retired. And look, at 53, I'm ready to be retired already.
I'm ready to retire at 25. So
you're not 25 until November.
It's basically November, so I'm basically 25. Don't ruin my spiel.
So we've got some exciting times coming up. We've got some great places to investigate. Yes, I will say, if you're the right fit, we're fine to grow as a team. If you want to message me on our fan page, if you want to message me at email, dave@chapsparanormal.ca, that's great. Go on to any one of our social medias if you're interested in doing it. But understand that there's a contentious amount of work when it comes to being an investigator that you're not paid for, and the expenses that you've got to pay out, right? Our team used to be well over 20 members. Well, now we're like 6. And really, 90% of the team is direct family to me, so it can't be like they can just piss off on their own. Even though next year, really, I'm losing Fiona for a bit. If we're doing the podcast, then I might get her there. But you know what? She won't be at an investigation for a long time.
I'm sorry.
Shannon is traveling like crazy next year. She's in Australia, whatever. So she will be missing a lot.
If they're local and I can drive home the same day, that's fine. It just can't be
probably resis.
Gallivanting off on the weekend.
We've got some interesting stuff, and you'll certainly have more time to work on the social media and do all the silly memes and whatever. Maybe we should get a new wardrobe and new pictures and different social media ways. Like when we're filming an investigation, like I'm kind of fat, so I'm going to like look that way, or no, like whatever way that would make me look like an angry Gen X. I want to look like. I got to look like that dark guy that people are afraid to argue with, right? That's what I'm trying to bring off. I'm trying to put that off. So we're going to have to change ourselves in the new year. We're all going to have cool, glitzy outfits and spend the money on that. I know. We got 2 minutes left.
Not even. You got 40 seconds.
2 minutes. To what?
You got 40 seconds to ramble.
Oh, shit. Okay, so everybody follow all our stuff. Everybody needs to go to YouTube and follow us on YouTube. We need 7 followers to make 1,000 subscribers. Follow us on our Facebook page. Follow us on whatever. Do this. Thank you for coming to the show. It's been a great crowd. How many people were here at Max?
We maxed out at like 12, I think, at one point. We've consistently had about 8 for the whole podcast. So it's better than most of our podcasts. So thank you, guys. We appreciate it.
All right, kiddo. Get lost. Thank you, everybody. Chat soon.
Bye.